Today, a three-judge panel on the D.C. Court of Appeals ruled against Judicial Watch and for Hillary Clinton. The panel overturned a lower court order requiring Clinton to testify under oath about her private email server and Benghazi. Two Obama-appointed judges and one George W. Bush-appointed judge made up the panel. Here to take it up is the president of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton. Well, Tom, you've been fighting a tough battle throughout, and you can't have been shocked with those odds that you would prevail. Your reaction tonight?
Well, it's frustrating, obviously. We're thinking of how we can appeal or whether we can appeal. But look, I mean, you had the court here grant her mandamus relief, which is what they're so hesitant to grant General Flynn. She ran the agency, she hid her emails, she took them and then deleted them. The court wanted to know what was going on. What was the court being gamed? Where were the documents? What was she thinking? And you had the appellate court really upend the rule of law on both FOIA and mandamus, which supposedly is supposed to be only rarely invoked. I mean, they essentially said she has an indisputable right not to testify. Indisputable. And on top of that, they throw back at us all the arguments that the Justice Department and the State Department have made. And frankly, Attorney General Barr and Secretary Pompeo are partly responsible for this adverse result because their agencies have been defending her in the lower courts repeatedly and trying to stop our discovery, and the court used that against us. Terrible, terrible outcome, but we'll see if we can appeal it.
Why would you not be able to appeal it? It's a corrupt judiciary. Even the higher courts have to acknowledge that. And you have Obama judges outnumbering the George W. Bush, which is, by the way, a 3-0 bias, it would seem to me.
Yeah, well, you know, the lawyers have to look at it and figure out whether we can appeal legally. You can imagine what I'd like to do, but we'll do what we need to do in order to hold Mrs. Clinton accountable under the law and hold the State Department accountable under law. You know, right now, by the way, Lou, it's still happening. The attorneys at the Justice Department are colluding with Hillary Clinton's attorneys. It happens. They're fighting us together. It's incredible, and it's a betrayal of everyone who expected law and order from this new Justice Department.
Well, what is William Barr doing about it?
Nothing.
I have never seen such nonverbal communication from you before, but every bit as eloquent, I assure you. Let's turn to Kleinsmith, the positive side of an attorney general who's taken over and has produced a result. It's late. It is also not at the level that any of us would want, but it is a beginning. Your thoughts?
Well, obviously, it's not sufficient. It certainly was necessary. It's overdue, as you point out. But it's confirmation that Obamagate's a crime. Carter Page is the victim of a crime. President Trump is a crime victim. Because remember, this isn't really about Carter Page, although he's obviously the victim and his rights were violated. This is about getting a way to spy on the Trump team. So President Trump had his civil rights violated as well.
Well, it's also an interest. There's an interesting cross-current here with Crossfire Hurricane. And the Obamagate and its origins and the attack on General Flynn. This is a mess that was stewed up by, we now know, certainly August of 2016, and one suspects even earlier than that, right?
That's exactly right, and we have confirmation that many others than this lawyer knew that there were lies being told to the court. And remember, the FISA wasn't the only way to spy on Trump. You had Comey personally spying on Trump in those meetings. You had the spying during the campaign. When Comey went to visit the president about the dossier, the president-elect, that was a spy operation. He had talked about that meeting with Barack Obama and Joe Biden the day before in the Oval Office. So if there's going to be sufficient justice here, in the least, Obama, Biden, and Hillary Clinton, who's behind this all, and this goes back to the earlier story, all need to be questioned by the Justice Department as opposed to being protected.
Well, explain to me this. Why aren't we at least hearing some evidence of energy behind an investigation of Fusion GPS? Why don't we know more about those entities in London, whether they're Stefan Halper, whomever it may be? What happened to the Australian ambassador? I mean, you start stepping back over time, and it's still frayed, it's disparate, and the fact of the matter is there doesn't appear to be great concentration on what has to be the leadership of this conspiracy. In fact, we've heard people verbalize the fact that they're not interested in Obama, they're not interested in Biden, yet we know full well both of those two people were involved in conversations about the origins of Obamagate and its direction.
I fear this may be the only prosecution, Lou. Maybe Strzok gets prosecuted. I don't know. Maybe McCabe. I don't know. But I'm not seeing any evidence they've focused on them. All of what you're asking about, we're going to get in the report, and that's supposed to be sufficient. It isn't sufficient for me. We didn't hire Durham to write a report. We hired him to prosecute people and seriously investigate them. It's one thing to make a decision not to prosecute after you haul everyone before a grand jury and hold them accountable and make it clear that you're serious about it. It's another thing to do this review that happens to turn into a criminal investigation after the IG forces your hand and then end with one prosecution or plea agreement with someone who they had dead to rights almost over a half a year ago.
Well, the president still has, it is obvious, considerable confidence in William Barr. Therefore, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and we just will see what we see. All that's riding on this is the future of this constitutional republic of ours. Tom Fitton, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.